At AirServe, you always see a photo of your service tech before they arrive. Our customer care is unmatched, and our service techs always treat your home with the care it deserves. We want to be the doctors for your heating and cooling system. Give us a call today so you can finally breathe easy with AirServe.
We're out here with Lee Hampton, Vice President and Chief Diversity Officer of Jackson College, and we're at the golf course today, Lee, because a few weeks ago, you and I ran into each other and you had told me how much of a golf historian you were in Jackson. I had no idea. I've never seen you on the golf course, so I'm glad we got you out here today.
Right, absolutely. It's a privilege to be out here, and you're doing amazing work too.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it. Now, you played a lot of golf when you were younger, but then gave the game up a little bit.
Yep.
What's the reasoning behind that?
Well, originally I was playing college basketball, and one of the things when you're playing college basketball or any sport at that level, you develop this competitive edge. So when your playing days are over, you got to decide what, and went on a couple of tours with some pro teams, and I came back home and I needed that competitive edge.
Okay.
And basketball at that point became a job. So
Sure.
I wasn't going down to the Y anymore, the King Center. That's a job.
Right.
You know, so I needed the competitive juices to still flow. So someone, I forgot who it was, invited me out to play a little golf. And I went out there, and it was amazing. I thought golf was like this boring sport or this politically correct or this affluent, you know, like, oh, no, it's not even, it's no athletic, it don't take any athletic ability to do it. But it was amazing how much of that competitive edge it met the need of. So I went out in the morning, I found myself going back out with twilight, you know, and then that was a routine. So I started playing quite a bit after my college basketball days, you know, but then life began to mature, and I began to grow spiritually as well as a professional, marriage, and I hadn't played any golf in almost 20 years.
That's crazy. And I know you don't have a lot of time. You're busy at work. You have a very large family. You do a lot of outside of work and family too that you're involved in. So when did you sort of pick up on kind of the history of the game in Jackson? Was that as you began to play, or were you always a little bit aware of that?
I think whenever you're really committed to anything, you began to become a historian of that. So that began to parlay once I started playing golf. I began to look in the paper and see spring thaw, you know, who's doing what, or the Masters, Jackson, who did what, and then I would go over to Sharp Park and maybe take a lesson or something, and I would see on the wall whoever won this. Like, I'm also a historian with tennis, you know, because my son may play a little bit around the house, and I may see the Calderons or, you know, the different ones that have really done well. So I began to study the history. So I began to study the history of Jackson golf and became a master historian of Jackson golf. One of the greatest of understanding who did what in Jackson's history in golf. I believe I am.
Let's put that to the test.
Let's put it to the test.
Give me your Lee Hampton's top 10 golfers, Jackson County history.
All right, here we go.
In order or just 10?
You know what, man? I'll make it super, super, super challenging. I'm an academic.
Okay.
So I'll actually make it challenging. We'll go in order.
Okay. I cannot wait for
this
list.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now I'll let you be the professor. At the end, you can tell me and let your audience judge. Tell them to call out to the college.
I don't want to leave anyone out.
There you go. All right.
Let's see.
So this is my list.
Okay.
Okay, I'd be remiss, and I think that they laid the foundation, and that's the Hill brothers. So Mike and Dave Hill would be my number 1 and 2.
Okay, that's great. It's a safe pick.
Okay, I got you. And then, honestly, man, I'm super, 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 super impressed. But once again, it's called the Tiger Woods effect. He's already probably made more money than the Hill brothers combined, but I'm not saying he was better. I think it was more so, because they're talking about Ryder Cup type stuff. I think it was more so the Tiger Woods bought so many sponsors in the golf.
Right.
That
It changed the money.
Totally.
Yeah.
So what Brian is doing financially, as well as
Brian Stewart, he's won a PGA tournament.
There you go. So I got to put in number 3. All right. This is where it gets more complicated, right?
You got the tour players out of the way.
Right. So now I would probably, this is where it can get kind of debatable, but I would probably slide This just me because of his amateur success. I'll put Steve Madalena,
Okay.
probably my fourth.
I don't think anyone's going to argue with you too much there.
Okay. And then it gets more historical, so some of the younger players may not debate, but I'll probably put Bob number 5. Zimmerman?
Bob Zimmerman?
Yeah,
okay.
he'll probably be number 5. And I'm a huge friend. One of my mentors on the DDA, the mayor appointed me to be a part of Jackson DDA about 15 years ago. And one of the gentlemen that took me under his wing there was Vic Kewis. Jackson College's great field house is named after him.
Right.
Vic was a golfer. He beat the Hill brothers.
That's right.
Like, I mean, back and forth. So I'll
Legend.
I'll put Vic Kewis as was that 6?
That's 5. That's 6. Yep, that was 6.
That's 6, right?
Yep, 6.
Okay, so I'll probably put Vic Kewis, number 6. And this is where my passion is released, and I'll just go on my ability to assess a golfer. And I'll probably go at Mark Kruzanowski, Phil Marston, that's way back, Mike Brocky, and Shane Clark.
Okay. That's a good list.
It's okay?
That's a pretty good, yes. I mean, I'm not gonna argue with you. I mean,
Okay.
I'm sure that, 7 through 14 is probably
Yeah,
debatable,
right.
maybe interchangeable.
Yeah,
There's still
yeah.
there's some guys you mentioned that are still winning tournaments.
Gotcha. Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
Madalena's still winning
Yeah,
tournaments.
yeah.
Brocky's in his prime,
Yeah,
playing
yeah,
winning tournaments.
yeah,
So, but I'm impressed with your knowledge.
Is that
Yeah.
Which-
Hey, you know more about golf than I do.
No, stop it, man. No.
That's impressive.
Well, no, Jackson has a very, very rich golf history. Extremely rich. I think, honestly, some of the best golf courses in the state,
I agree.
per square mileage.
Absolutely.
And then very affordable for the most part. And then we're out here at the Grand, and it doesn't get much better than the Grand, Cascades, the Country Club,
Right.
at Arbor Hill. You talking,
We're lucky.
Man. And I
Yeah.
don't know if the average person understands, because familiarity breeds content, and we're just thinking
Right.
this is everywhere. This is
Right.
not everywhere. So we're very fortunate. The show you're doing is just amazing. I don't know if any sponsors watch this, but they need to really tap in and even further sponsor your show at another whole
There
level.
you go. Look at that. You're always selling for me. I appreciate it.
No, it's
Now,
genuine.
we're gonna put that list that Lee has given us on our website, and then we're gonna share that. We'll probably get some feedback on that.
Okay, yeah.
What's going on at the college? I know you're constantly doing new things out there.
Absolutely. We got Juneteenth coming up,
Okay.
and that's the Emancipation Proclamation was signed, and that's the ending of slavery in the U.S. 1863, September 1st, Abraham Lincoln signed it. But they didn't have a Bart Hawley show or Hawley TV golf show. And so 2 years later, slaves were still in slavery. So they got down to Galveston, Texas, and they saw these slaves. And they're like, what are you guys doing? They said, we're slaves. They said, that ended 2 years ago. So General Granger read the proclamation, and they were freed. So that was the first time, honestly, that all American was truly free. Jackson has one of the biggest Juneteenth celebrations in the state.
We're at it every year.
You guys are at it every year. You do an amazing work. All the vendors are downtown Jackson, June 16th. We're working on that. We had a golfer go to the Nationals out at the college, so
Awesome.
we're very excited about the progress of our athletic department. We're adding bowling, so
Okay.
we're excited about you.
Great.
Bowl?
I mean, I would if you
Okay,
invited me.
all right, yeah,
I
we're
mean,
adding bowling, man. So the college is doing some amazing things,
Yeah.
and it's all about the greatness of Jackson.
Now, in a few weeks, we're going to talk to you and some of your other family members about the Gus Macker, but you and I go way back to the Gus Macker, the 97 Gus Macker.
Absolutely.
You and I were in that. I was 15. So you were, how old were you in 97?
97.
Summer of 97.
23. Maybe.
Okay.
22,
All right.
23.
So yeah, we were in that.
Right. I often was telling someone that I come back home and my brother Basil had really put Gus Macker dunk contest on the map. It finally made it to Jackson. I'm up at Central Michigan. I come back home and they're telling me Macker's coming to Jackson. So I'm in my prime, So I'm down
You jumped
there.
over a table.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So I'm in my prime down there at downtown Jackson in the dunk contest. And I look over and I see this skinny white kid. And I'm like, this young kid, he can't jump. You know that movie, White Men Can't Jump, right? So I'm like being stereotypical. Like, and man, this kid jumps out the gym and he's only like, now here he's like 15. He goes up, he's slamming it with authority. And I'm like,
Is that why you brought the table out?
I'm like, who is
Yeah, right.
I'm like, who is this guy? So years later, and I never really made the connection, but years later, once my career began to progress, I went down to JTV to be on the show, and you walked in and I said, that was are you serious? You had the picture to
My
prove
mom
it.
has the pictures.
Yes,
yeah.
absolutely. So it's really, really historical that it's finally coming back to Jackson.
Right.
My brother really was the foundation of the Macker Dunk Contest in the early 80s. Here I came around 15 years later when it was the foundation of Jackson's dunk contest. And then my brother Johnny was the only one of us that won the Gus Macker National Dunk Contest in Kissimmee, Florida, in Orlando on the Disney base. And so we are going to do a show with you coming up. So anyone tuning in, tune back in.
Yeah,
and we're going to talk about
fun.
the history.
That's going to be a lot of fun. Well, you think you're up to playing one hole of golf?
You know what, man? I could give it a shot, man. I haven't played in a long time, like I said, but I hate to embarrass you or me for you bringing me on the show and me picking up a golf club and hitting a hole, which I haven't done in 20 years.
Well, we're going to see what you can do because we're out here, so we're playing.
No worries.
So we'll be right back. More from golf historian Lee Hampton.
Thanks, buddy.